Heyo everyone, welcome back to this side of the world. This is Photography with Friends, episode 5. If you don't know what this podcast is about, you're in luck because I will explain it to you right now. Photography with Friends is a podcast where I feature 3 different photographer, photo hobbyist, and photo enthusiast friend, and we chat about everything photography until your ears bleed with a sprinkle of life despairs. Today we are welcoming 3 beautiful new faces and voices. Chris Dickinson, Ramona Mills, and Kenny Jeon. Chris is a lover of aviation and fixer of planes, also known in the group as Yellow Airplane Man. Chris enjoys capturing the fine details of subjects, whether it be a sheen of the goose's feather, backlight of a vintage car, or the leading lines of a New York-style staircase. He does not shy away from capturing the story behind each scene with vigor. Ramona is a bubbly being whom enjoys the simple pleasures in life, capturing the quiet and beautiful atmospheres of sunsets, palm trees, urban murals, and flower petals. She has a knack for finding little signs of positivity and heart-shaped symbols sent from the universe. Ramona's photos would be sure to delight you. Kenny has an eye for finding street moments of both calmness and livelihood. He frames his subjects in a way that sucks the viewers into a scene like a painting would in Super Mario 64. Kenny's choice of colors brings life to the city street nights of Calgary. And on to the podcast we go. So, I would like to welcome you all to the podcast today. Thank you for agreeing to sit with me and talk about photography and everything related.
Cool. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. So, how are you guys feeling today?
Really good. I came loaded with 2 cameras today.
Ooh.
It was mainly for the Pet Fest, but there's always that moment in time when you're driving around and you see something. And yesterday, I wished I had my camera when I was on my way to the print exchange, because there were 3 fully dressed firefighters in front of the Rosso coffee place in Inglewood. And it was like this perfect little scene, and the sun was just shining on it. And I was like, this always happens when I'm driving. But a lot of my photographs, maybe in the mountains and stuff, where usually I'm the passenger. So I have a lot of 100-kilometer-an-hour scenes that I've taken pictures of. So.
You always need your camera with you because you never know, right?
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Like you should always take it with you wherever you go. And then sometimes I kind of dismiss that, but then it kind of always ends up like biting me because I'm like, oh, I really want to shoot that, but I'm like, oh, I don't have my camera on me.
I find my phone is a good replacement, and I've probably burned the sensor out already with enough sunset pictures and whatnot when I didn't have my camera. So my phone's probably the worst thing for my backup at this point.
And no, totally. I think the best thing, carry a camera everywhere, because you just never know. I'd rather, like we were talking about, just carrying a little bit of cash. Like I'd rather have it than not spend it. So I'd rather have your camera and not need it than want it and be like, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like almost a safety net. It's like, oh, thank God I have my camera with me. But I think there was a meme on like online for like birding, and it's like there's no birds and you have your camera, and then this next scene was like there's so many birds, but then you don't have a camera.
That's exactly right.
So true.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's like they know, and then God is spiting you.
Yeah.
I was curious though, like, have you guys been to the Pet Fest before? Like, ever?
No, it's the first time.
You guys?
I've heard of it before either.
Yeah, same. This is the first year.
Yeah, I usually go to the pet festivals that are like outdoors. I've never been to the indoor ones, and then for this one specifically, they don't want you to bring your pet because usually when I go to like the Toronto Canadian Expos, they're allowed to bring their pets. It's mostly like all dogs. But some people like just randomly bring like a lizard on their shoulder or like a cockatoo or something, but they prefer you just to bring their dog. Yeah.
There's one in the summer. It's called like the Dog Days of Summer or Dogs of Summer. And It's at Eau Claire.
Yes.
And they put out like 50 different like kiddie pools with water in it, and like you just saw the dogs were excited.
Yeah, they were so happy. I went last year. Yeah. It was really fun.
So you got to see them like in their environment and not so much on display.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see this one because they also have like other pets and like animals.
Mhm.
I think they had like llamas or sheep or something because they have like a herding demonstration for like Australian shepherds.
Mhm.
It's like 3 times a day they'll have like a herding demonstration. So like I assume they would have some sheep or something.
Oh, maybe that's why they didn't want people to like bring their pets in case like
The dog just jumps over and
Yeah.
starts herding.
All those dogs are probably like absolutely well trained.
Mm.
But well trained, and there's a lot of people out there that think their dog is well trained, and it's not, and it's just gonna like disturb it. The other one I'm excited to see, if possibly, is I saw clips, is the canine unit was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool to like capture those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you know those dogs are they say jump and it goes how high, sir,
Yeah.
and then it wants a treat, but
Yeah.
all
They deserve it though.
Yeah.
For sure.
They work really hard.
Yeah.
that would be one of the funnest jobs in the police force with a canine. Because like once you get like assigned a dog, it's yours.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like it would be nice to be a dog or something. I mean, that would be cool.
Something, yeah. If your owner's really good and you have a good life, like you get pet, you get fed, you get to have a nap when you want, like a good life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's those bad houses that you wouldn't want to be in.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I think about that a lot sometimes. I'm like, maybe, you know, being a dog isn't all that bad.
You get fed treats all the
Yeah.
time. You get like you sleep all day. You don't have to go to work, and
Yeah.
you're just like loved every like with a good owner, and they love you and give you pets and
Everyone,
belly rubs.
everyone wants to take your picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they think you're so cute. You know, the cutest dog in the world.
Go through the drive-through at Tim Hortons with your owner, and you get free Timbits.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
pet cups, pup
Pet
cups. Yeah.
Kind of like a big time freeloader though, hey? But you know,
Opportunist.
yeah, oh, you know, put it that way.
Just finding the joy in the simple things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like being a part of this like photography group and friends, and it's like you do like the most random things. Like next week we're Pet Fest, and then it's the closing of Eau Claire, and then it's the Comic Expo, and then it's helping Patrick with his Drumheller tour stuff. Right? It's not always the same thing. Like every weekend there's something different, and with the diversity of the group, there's some characters. We're not going to mention Chi, but there's some characters.
We're not gonna mention Chi, but there's Chi. One day he will be on one of these podcasts.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've just been holding back because he's a very big character.
He almost deserves, after he's done his like with friends, he almost needs like a one-on-one.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing.
yeah, right. Just no other friends. Just Chi.
Yeah.
Podcast with Chi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the print exchange last night because the difference in photography and, you know, what people see. And I was saying that earlier you have an advantage, Kenny, with being as tall as you are. Because when I drove by the Peace Bridge today and I glanced over to it and I was like, oh my, you know, your advantage isn't just, you know, that, you know, you saw what you saw. That picture you had shared was amazing. And I loved that. But I was looking, and there's no way I could accomplish that without having like a footstool or something to be able to be a little higher. So you have an advantage because there's lots of places where I wish that I had like a portable stool of some kind that I could carry. Because I have seen, you know, some scenes where it's like, oh, I'm going to have to adjust this. And it's too bad that I couldn't be a little higher. And no, I don't want a drone. I just don't.
You always have to get over the fence.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
They're not shooting through the fence. You know, that couple, you know, that
Yeah.
2 or 3 feet, get them over top of the fence.
I guess it's not a bad idea. Just have a foldable step stool.
Well, I was trying to figure out something that's not just foldable, but, you know, lightweight enough that I can carry it. It's not too cumbersome because I already find, you know, I try to keep my camera case as compact as possible. And even with what I have, I'm still feeling the weight of that. So having a stool on top of it is.
Yeah, I think they have those for camping now. Like very collapsible, but also like not very lightweight.
but to stand on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Sitting is one thing.
That's
Stand.
true. Yeah.
you're holding your camera up and then the stool just breaks on you. You can't be
Yeah.
big up.
That's true. Yeah.
I would think nowadays you could probably pick up one that is durable with the technology out there.
Yeah.
And as light, like look at the carbon fiber tripods now compared to the regular one.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
Yeah.
they'll hold a person.
They're also really expensive. Like those things. Like an arm and a leg.
Yeah, $12.
But like you could also like look into maybe getting a taller tripod as well. That might work as an option. Because then you wouldn't have to carry a stool with you at all times, but it's also like more, I feel like, applicable for photos in general as well, which is nice. And then then you could get like one of those shutter buttons. Like
Yeah. I was
Like the
thinking
remotes. Yeah.
Yeah.
like selfie stick, but something for the camera to be elevated.
oh yeah, or like a monopod.
Yeah, where you could still, I don't know how the remote visual thing would work, so I don't want to carry a laptop around.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be able to see it and lift it might be an
Yeah,
option,
like a
maybe.
monitor or something.
Mhm.
I think some people use the monopod as well, but it really has to be like a lightweight camera. Can't be just like, what camera do you have again? Is it Canon?
I have Nikon Z6 II
Mm.
and my Nikon Z50 with me.
Mm.
So
Yeah, might be too heavy then.
yeah, the 50 wouldn't be.
I gotta get this in, but you could just have a Red Bull. It'll give you wings.
Are we sponsored? Sponsored?
A friend with the Red Bull joke. Team Max all the way. But like, I know like for my Canon, there's an app for it, and it will like tether wirelessly or like Bluetooth to my camera. So
Yeah,
then you don't have, like, then you could just same thing, like use the tripod and just use your phone. You control everything on it.
Yeah.
that's right. I didn't do it in the opposite way when I was on my recent holiday, but every photo that I took went through SnapBridge onto my phone, which was awesome for me because I could see and share some of them immediately. As long as I didn't think they needed much editing, I was okay with sharing. And a lot of the sunsets and things that I shared were as a result of that ability. But I didn't take it in the opposite direction, which is a good idea. So
Instagram or like clips, and they take the pictures of people on the street and they have the printer there. It
Oh,
goes right
yeah.
into Lightroom. They edit it and they right to the printer. So like, technically, you don't even need a computer these days.
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. Yeah. Like those videos you were talking about where they print it out for you.
A guy does it at a car show. He goes to the car show, takes a picture, prints it, and then he's smart. He puts his business card and some stickers in there, and now he's probably the customers left, front, center.
There was somebody 100 years ago that used to do this in the bar and somewhere else too, touristy, where they take your picture, but immediately, not the $60 thing at the desk on your way out, but right there would like print your picture and then try to sell it to you for $5. So, maybe that's just come a long way.
Yeah.
How they print it,
It's like
right?
just a little.
Hmm.
Yeah. Have you ever heard those like Canon selfies 1500s? It's just you connect it with your phone through Bluetooth or wireless, and then any photos on it, you can just share it, put it in. It'll immediately just print out a 4x6. So someone in Japan was just hooking it up made it a necklace kind of thing.
Wow.
And then he was able to print it out immediately after he like linked it up with his like camera. And then immediately he was able to like take photo. It'll be like Instax or a Polaroid. And then he'll give it to the person right there.
I would have to wear it like a little platform.
Yeah.
And then it would go zzz 4 times.
Yeah.
Like a little Canon selfie does that. And
Yeah,
then it's
exactly.
like, unless it doesn't get stuck or
Yeah.
on paper.
Yeah, it's really cool. I recommend getting one for like, prints and just like for gifts for friends.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's really cool to watch. It's just like, it goes 4 times. You can see the layers go through. Yeah.
Usually I have a cat right there, so then I have to print it the second time because there's this little touching of it while it's doing its back and forth. So then the thing ends up with squiggly lines.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, just making sure. Yeah.
Definitely a replica because there's no cat marks on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is your watermark. Your cat
Yeah,
gave you the watermark.
To hold them next time and just make it, a little more consistent when
Just hold it down. Like a stamp. That's cute.
So that thing is like it's a printer?
Yeah, it's a sprinter. It's like a mini printer. And it's kind of portable because they advertise it as portable-ish because you can just plop it up and then take it with you in a backpack and put it down
Oh,
and use it.
interesting.
Because it only prints 4x6. It doesn't print any other dimensions.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
And like there's battery packs and stuff, so like you don't need anything.
Mhm.
Then in the middle of the street and you take a picture and print it down to the person.
Yep.
Interesting.
that'll be $10, please.
Yeah. You have no choice. I have already printed it.
And now, I have a debit machine right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like, oh.
Except
I have Square. It's like, oh, I don't have cash. Just don't worry, I have this right here.
Those kind like there was this one time I was in New York and these people dressed up as like Mickey Mouse and things like that, like they forcibly like grabbed hold of me and then they took pictures of me with the Mickey Mouse guy and they're like, please pay us. And then I just look and then I could just see in the photos that I was like visibly distraught. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, and I don't know. Like, I don't know. But, that's an idea.
Did you pay them? The question is. Yeah. That's how they hustle.
That's what they do in Cuba. They don't ask. They go and they'll like sketch you or they'll do something, and then because it's done, they like will sit there and bug you for blocks upon blocks upon blocks. So like if you don't learn to, as soon as some guy walks up to you, like no, you like also do like, oh, I guess I should give you something.
Yeah, they'll like guilt trip you. That's pretty bad. But it is a tactic.
That's why I like the idea of like just taking like the guy at the car show. He's just using it to promote his business and stuff.
Does he give it for free?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A little baggie, because if all of a sudden, every 10th one makes them, 2 or 3 customers, or it would pay for itself.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it, I think.
Yeah. Plus, it's like, I don't know, sometimes like even like those guys that just take like random candid like street portraits and then print them out. It's like a feels good moment and things like that too.
Yeah. There's always the chance of like an alternative motive behind it. Of like, now I can use it for YouTube and I'm going to get views and all this kind of stuff. Like, if he is, and that's good, it's a good business move for him. But then, yeah, it's totally like feel good.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of what I would call a pseudo security check, because you mentioned New York and, you want to go up to the top of any of the buildings. But first you have to stop here and get your picture taken. And then everybody poses really nicely and they get their picture taken. And it's like, I just gave my image to somebody and I don't even know why. And now I have the option of buying it, but it's a way of photographing every single person that comes in as well.
That's true.
Instead of just the camera at the door. Right?
You can keep track of like who comes in and out kind of thing.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Time stamped and it'll be like crystal clear images.
Oh, for sure it is. Yeah. So the Chrysler building and the Empire State Building. I think the Chrysler building was the one that they did the pictures. But, like they shipped people up, 20 at a time. So you all stood in one spot. And they took the photo then, and then they ship you off to the next spot where they, like an airport, make the security check that you're not carrying anything. And then the next stop is to get on the elevator to finish the ride up.
It's funny, like you brought up skyscrapers, like the guys that go like illegally climb or however get on top of them, like their shots are amazing, but I don't think I could go that high.
Oh, I know exactly. And they don't have any safety gear.
No.
Yeah, like
and they're like hanging off of something and their camera like all stretched out, taking a picture, and I'm like, one slip and like you're done. Like
they have no fear.
No.
It's mostly the Russian people that do it too.
It's like a new, what is it, adrenaline like junkie type of thing, I guess. Like they don't even like what's crazy to me is that they don't even have their cameras like, like the strap. Like they don't even have it around them.
Right. It's just
yeah, they just like handheld it and they're on the top of like a skyscraper's ledge. And they like credit to them. They get some really nice shots.
Yeah.
But like, I just can't. What if they like drop their camera and then some unassuming person is below?
Yeah.
Right?
I wonder if the camera strap around the neck or like strapped to you is like a safety thing. So now they're like, yes, the whole like dropping it would maybe take out 2 or 3 people possibly, but maybe they've had risks where like if they get hung up or something, it causes problem to them as they're climbing. So if it gets hung up, they just whatever to the camera. Like there's their safety factor, like their considerations.
Like, I wonder how much of their safety they're actually considering.
Did you know that there is what do you call those things that go up in the air?
Drones?
The drones, yeah. Like the drone footage can be.
It's tough because like in Calgary, you can basically fly a drone anywhere. Like it is amazing. Like downtown Calgary is like wide open to like 400 meters. But I'm thinking like New York and stuff. And the major is probably locked down. So for them to get it now they're giving the government all their information to get certified to fly drone. So.
Well, just imagine like near my place, there's a lot of structures and you don't want a drone driving by your bedroom window or things like that too. And honestly, with the wind gusts and things here, I have no use for a drone. If I was out in, like Claire's home or something like that, where I am in the fields and that kind of thing, okay, I can see where that's going to be useful.
I think that just comes to like, people just need to be respectful. And I know it's a difficult subject, but like you don't walk up to someone's house and look in their window. Why would you fly a drone?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know, because people, I don't know, they kind of feel like when they're not physically there, and they're doing it through like the I don't know, the lens of a drone or whatever it is, they feel like it's like they can get away with it. I feel like a lot of people just think as long as it's not tied to me, like I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So
it's a very valid.
It's almost like disconnecting.
Yeah, like people like, well, they're more okay. It's like the same deal. I feel like for like street photography, when someone who kind of struggles to go up closer with like a wider lens, but they'll have no problem with like a zoom.
Yeah.
Like it's just like as long as it's not really, no one really notices that I'm doing it, I feel less. Just
distance.
Yeah.
I think it's like doing the distance, it almost takes away the fun of it and the character. Like, yeah, maybe you catch someone in like this perfect, like middle of something moment, but you get like such an interaction. You get their person's character when you're like, hey, can I take a shot? Or like, they know you're taking a shot. They'll play up who they want to be, or they play up who their character is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's why I like prime lenses. Like you can like not be as lazy and just like actually physically move up to the subject more and like take a photo. And
sometimes you end up stepping back from them too.
Yeah, it's a bit too close.
I asked a woman, the lighting on Stephen Avenue was just perfect. And there was this moment and I walked up to her because it was a restaurant patio and they're paying to eat their dinner there. So I said, the lighting is really nice. Would it be okay if I take your picture? I mean, the woman probably refrained from using some other swear words, but she basically told me no. And I respected that, but we all have to have that experience too, to find out that there are folks that don't want their photo taken. And so it's a good idea, to be nearer the subject.
I think the subject, like, it's also like such a fun moment for the subject because now they can feel humbled. They're like, oh, they want my picture? Right? It makes them feel good. It's that feel good moments that's important in this life.
Yeah, like maybe they had a bad day or like no one's asked for their pictures. Like me, why? I'm just an ordinary person. It's like, oh, they see something about you, your character, your charm, or your clothes, and like makes their day kind of.
I think what you were saying too earlier about like their character kind of showing when you get up closer. I think that's a fair point as well, because you see those photos of like people who are very much aware that they're getting their photos taken, and it's just interesting to see like how they would react. Like there's like some really nice photos of like someone flipping someone off or whatever, like flipping the photographer off while they're taking that shot, but it just adds like a lot of like that character into like the photograph and things like
it
that.
puts a fun story behind the picture,
Yeah.
because if you took that same person, you just saw him from across the street, you'd be like, oh, that's a cool looking dude. Like, look at his hat. Like he's wearing a Boston hat in New York. He's going to get beat up or something. But say then the next picture beside it is, like you say, him flipping off, and you're like, there's a story behind that.
Yeah. It's
Like,
interaction.
it drags you into it.
Yeah, I like that hanging on the moment when you're doing your photography, and don't put your camera down right away, because there's always going to be that millisecond afterwards.
Yep.
Something's about to happen. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I heard like a really important trait is like patience for like your shots, and I find that you know, a lot of the times, you know, if you wait long enough, like the moment will come and things like that, which is I think good, because sometimes I get too impatient and then I'll just like give up on something, and then like the moment I look away or put my camera down is like when it happens, and I'm like, oh, okay, whoops.
Yeah, missed the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fully relate. Like, just yesterday, like I went down to the pond at Princess Island and went around once, and saw the usual, saw my friends, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna hang out here, and I found that one that hooded. I don't even know how to say it, and it was like the coolest looking bird I've seen so far. Right? But if I would have been like, oh, okay, did my thing, gone, never would have known.
Mm-hmm.
So you're absolutely right. It's that patience, and it's a good lesson in life to learn.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Good things come to those who wait.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're a photographer, I guess.
Do you guys seek out your subject, or do you like to be the kind of photographer that likes to wait for a scene to come in? Like you see a scene and you're like, oh, something would be good if someone walked in, or something like that. Like, what kind of photographer are you think, on the streets?
I think like it depends on my mood. Like if I'm in a nice, relaxed, fun mood like yesterday, it's casual. But if it's like the beginning of the walk, or the walk's going to like clear my head, sometimes it's just like I'm just walking, click, 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 and all that. Like the scene is what it is. I'm not going to wait for someone to walk by or that light to change or something. So it's very that.
Yeah. Mine ends up more like if I'm at an event, I'm looking for something unique, and I can stand and sort of wait for something, but I end up probably leaning towards being like a documenting type photographer instead. And I did the Lilac Fest one year, and it was so crowded, but I got some really cool shots because there were so many people there that had different colored hair. And so I had kind of a theme going on for a little while of a variety of people walking by with, so a lot of shots from behind, because it was so crowded. Walking up to somebody would have probably been like a barrier for everyone else trying to follow behind them. But I don't know. I think I probably end up being more like documenting than anything. So not really waiting it out.
Yeah.
I think at first I would be a lot more of like spontaneous. Just like whatever. If I see something right away that I like, I'll take a picture of that. But I'm not like premeditating on like a shot that I would like to have beforehand. But I think lately that I've been doing a lot more of that. Like I'll see something and I think, oh, it'd be really cool if there was someone like walking by here and I could get their reflection or whatever it is. But I think there's also, I think that's more of like a middle ground as well. Cause I think there's also those photographers that like have the whole scene in their mind and they only go out with the intent of getting that shot. And I don't think that necessarily suits like how I would go about shooting as much, just because I think for something like street photography, which I do a lot of, it's kind of, I don't know, I feel like if the shot's too premeditated, it kind of takes away from that essence of street photography, I feel like, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I would say maybe a little bit of in the middle ground right now.
I think like valid points. Like I think it's a good like balance is that sometimes you'll go out spontaneously and then that you'll get a couple spots in your head and you'll be like, it would look really cool if And so like 2 days later or a week later or however long later, you'll go back to that spot looking for that if, right? So it's a nice balance when that happens.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think I'm also like, I'm leaning more towards spontaneity and just like following, documenting what happens. I don't have the patience to wait for a scene to come in. It's more so like if I know, or like just from knowing the streets or like this area, then or people's like body language, that it will be a short period of time for me to wait, then I will wait maybe a couple seconds, like a minute maybe. But if it's like a long wait, then I probably won't do it.
It feels creepy too in a way.
Yeah, I
depending where
feel
you are.
I feel like I always have to like keep my camera up and like shooting other things and just like pretend that I'm not just standing there and waiting. Otherwise, it does look like, kind of suspicious to people.
Honestly, like like yesterday, I saw this like very nice like character like in Chinatown, like he was, he was using a pipe, and I was like, oh wow, I really want to capture this. I just think like, I really like his character, so I had like my camera, and then he would like he looked at me and he saw that I was taking the photo, and then what I did was I just like veered my camera slowly, and I was like, oh, the sky looks nice or something, and I'm just like, it's I don't know, sometimes it's kind of hard for me to like strike that, I don't know, just find that line where it's like, am I being like a weirdo, or is just like, because there's like some photographers that do like some pretty crazy things to like get the shot, and then it's like, is it okay for for their art, or like are they just being a menace to society? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's no fear in those people. Like Bruce Gilden, he'll just go up to you and flash and like not care about the reaction, or like he will care about the reaction, but will capture it later and just not care about what the other person thinks. Yeah. So it's like, but yeah, I think I feel more sensitive. Like, oh, I'm bothering this person. I don't want to keep intruding on their privacy or what they're doing, kind of thing. Yeah.
But that scene that you're mentioning, now you know why some people have zoom lenses, because that shyness factor is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't lie. Like, I have a pretty long lens.
If you had a silent shutter, maybe like click really quick and just like look up.
Yeah, it's like it's always like, it's like my go-to whenever like someone notices. I just like silently just like, I'm like try to like pan next to them, and I'm just like, oh, that's nice. Something else, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, because like you look at those photographers like Gilden, or like my favorite is like this guy. His name's Tatsuo Suzuki, and what he does is like he'll like go right up to your face, and these are just random people, and he'll just go right up to their face, and then he'll just take a shot of them, and he gets like these incredible images. But the people, like the public, was not a fan of that. But and I just don't know. I think is there where like the line is and things like that.
I guess it depends what kind of photographer you want to be known as, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's also tough, like in the world today of like social media, YouTube, not to harsh on them, but like people will post, but they'll be in a country or a city that like the people don't care. Like it's a totally different culture than say where we are, whereas people here, depending on the situation, they start yelling at you, throwing things. So you never want to, but in some other countries, it's so prevalent that the people there almost expect it, right? So then you get those photographers that can go in your face in that city or country, and it's not a problem.
We are Big Brother.
That's, yeah.
True. I feel like I feel more confident to do that kind of stuff in a foreign country, because I'm like I guess like almost can fall back on the fact that I'm a tourist and I just want to capture the culture, like what that's different than here, maybe. But I don't know if that's also right to do.
I have a New York story that I want to share with you.
Yes.
And I hadn't taken up, photography yet, so I'm still using my little cyber shot. we're in New York, and I'd never seen rats coming out of the underground heading to the garbage. This is new to me. So here's me, my little cyber shot, and the flash is going off, and I'm leaning, towards the ground, taking this picture. And a group of fellows across the street thought I was photographing them. And I didn't see that because I was too busy looking at the rats. But then I feel this hand on my shoulder, and my husband is grabbing my shirt, and he's like, come on, Mo, we gotta go. We gotta go. Because the group of guys that thought I was photographing them started to walk towards the sidewalk to come back across the street towards me. So I didn't realize that I had engaged people without actually engaging them. So that was a little safety tip for next time too, to be a little bit more aware of your subject surroundings.
Yeah, that's a good point. Kenny's saying he moves camera away. People could think that, because to not take a picture of them, but people could think that you're taking a picture of them, but you're really not. And then you're like, no, I'm not. Like, it's a good thing, like if you have a digital camera, you can be just like, no, I didn't. But I could only imagine if you had a film, if say you're on your second last shot, and the person's like, take it out now, and you'd be like, but I didn't take a picture of you.
Like I wonder too, though. It's like because nowadays with like phones and those types of technology being so prevalent, like, and those all have pretty good cameras in them nowadays too, right? Like I wonder if that's kind of changed how people react in those situations nowadays, because nowadays like anybody can film anything, and they're used to that now. Like there's all like these social media things and whatnot. But so I just wonder if that, I don't know, that changed how your subject may or may not like react to those types of situations.
It's a good point. Like you never know when you're getting photographed or videographed. Like look at the Ray-Ban sunglasses now.
Yeah,
there's built-in cameras, so you think someone's just looking at you and recording you.
Yeah, those are interesting. Like I don't know, because like those are really covert. Like you cannot tell at all.
They're just sunglasses. Yeah. Do you think that's ethical?
Like I think some people try to justify it by saying, "Oh, but there's a blue light like that shines out when it's recording," but it's in like this. It's like this super small LED, probably, that's just like, that if you were just not paying attention, you would have no idea that it's going off, right? Especially if there's like daylight. So it's like, it's hard to say. Like, I don't know. A lot of people like to argue that if you're in a public place, you lose the right to like that sort of privacy. But it's at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Because, at least with a camera, like people like, you put it up to their face, but they know what your intentions are. But for other people, if you have like those glasses on, you could just be having a conversation, and this whole time you're getting recorded. Yeah.
I think time and place and like your purpose of it. It's no different like walking around with the GoPro making a vlog or going somewhere and trying to experience. You want to use your hands to take pictures or whatever, right? But if you're being creepy, just like you can with the camera, then you're no.
I think it really isn't much different than a camera, except that it's a little more secretive. But I think from all of our experience watching the news and seeing how, such and such famous person was in a scenario where they thought they were with friends and someone's recording the conversation from their phone in their pocket, really not much different than the Ray-Bans or whatever. And it puts us in a position where even when we're among friends, we feel like we have to be careful what we say. So you almost have to be aware that anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, right? And, you just never know. And I think that the digital age has really put us in that position where we have our personal thoughts and biases about things, but verbalizing them can, be shown against us.
Yeah. I think like point of like the intention, because like at this point too, like we all have like with how advanced technology has gone, like we all have the tools to like, I don't know, record people secretly or do things that are like maybe not ethically or morally the best. But I think it just, what really matters is like, but we're not choosing to do that. We want to do it for like the sake of like, capturing a nice moment and things like that. And so like, I understand that like, yeah, like the Ray-Bans, like, they're a bit interesting in like how it's very secretive in how you record it. But like at the end of the day, like maybe it would have taken a little bit more effort, but you could have done that through some other means anyways. Yeah. So it's just like, it's really up to, it's not, I think sometimes people blame the tool a lot. And, in some circumstances I can see that applying, but like in the realm of like, cameras and things like that, I think it's really, the person who's using it, like what their intents are. And I think that's like an important thing that people kind of lose focus on. So, but yeah.
Good point.
And I think like this relates to everything in the world is like one bad thing outweighs like 500 billion good things. Like you could have 500 great photographers and you're like, oh my God, and there'll be one person in there that secretly records and does bad things with it. And that's what people relate to. Well, you can do this, you can do this. It's like, what about the 500 million great shots out there?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
It's like, there's like, when I was teaching, I put this thing on the board and it was like 1 times, you're like 9 times multiples. And you always put one wrong. Like we pick one and it's like, and it's wrong. And you put it up on the board and the students or people are just like, you got one wrong. And you're like, what about the 9 I got right? And they're like, oh, never mind. Right? Some people are so fast to point out the negative and the wrong that they don't focus on all the effort to get 9 out of 10.
And you just summed up the news.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's why I don't watch news.
Yeah.
I remember watching it, like, there was like a period I was like really was like conscious of it. And it's like for 3 months, like the first 10 minutes of the news was all bad. And I'm like, I don't want to do this every day.
It's
like,
very depressing.
If I need to know something or something's major, like especially in my industry or my life, like I'll know either the day of or I'll educate myself right on multiple sources and not just one person's opinion.
Yeah. Well, is it an earthquake? I studied criminology, and one of the things they're teaching us was like news, kind of like fear mongering in the news. And one of the things was saying, if it bleeds, it leads. So it's kind of like their slogan that they kind of use in the media. So it's just like, it's more interesting. People get captured and more, and like, we'll watch it and read it more if it's just compared to like someone just doing a good thing for the community. It's like, oh, okay, but there's no blood involved or there's no violence. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I honestly think that like perspective on things is a huge thing. Is like, to be aware of. I don't know, like I just realized that there was just so much focus on all these negative things, and it would just, and that affects you. Like, you know what I mean? If you're constantly being exposed to that, like negative energy or whatever it is, like negative news, whatever it is, consistently. And then you just learn to kind of, as a byproduct, you just learn to kind of focus on those things only. And then you kind of lose sight of like all these great positive things that are going around. And honestly, for the most part, that kind of are just, I guess, quantitatively and qualitatively just like outweighing like all that bad stuff. And I don't know, I think like for me too, like a big reason I started photography was like perspective. Like I wanted to kind of change how I saw things and tried to see things in like a positive way instead of like, and like appreciate those things, because I just felt like, there was so many negative things that I was maybe focusing on that I, really didn't need to. And I think that's why I think perspective is such an important thing for sure. Like not only in life, but photography and things like that. Yeah.
My photography history might have started with high school, and, on and off. Like I said, I had my little cyber shot and my favorite little Sony, and over time, photographing or documenting basically what's going on in my life was really the key, or maybe taking pictures on vacation that kind of thing. And then it was just close to COVID that I had bought a camera, had no idea how to use it. I don't know what compelled me to do that, but I did. And then when COVID did come, I'm pretty much secured in my little apartment. I'm in my little world. And that actually helped me tremendously with coming out. And I had to shut the news off too, because that was the other thing. It was constant and negative, and I actually could feel myself being pulled into that. Not buying into it, but being pulled into the
negative energy.
Because the complete world is upside down situation. And so this really helped me to kind of bring my world in and maybe photograph just the things that were around me, but kind of bringing me back into getting more positive, like you said, and getting away from, buying into any of the fear mongering and the news and whatnot.
I think that was like the hardest part during that. Not the hardest, but like one of the other huge parts of like that time that we went through was the mental health part of it.
Yeah.
Because exactly, like you watch one news and it's like if you step outside your house, that's it, kind of thing, and then you get all that. So like that was a big part of. Right?
Yeah, brought a lot of people down, especially like all the restrictions, and just cooped everyone up in isolation. So, like, I think a lot of people actually got into photography during the COVID time. I knew I did as well. I like with film, just shooting a lot more, and just like going on my own little excursions by myself. And it really was a therapeutic kind of thing during that time, because there was just a lot of negative energy in the world that time. Yeah,
it was a giant time for a lot of businesses to pivot. And so Learn Photography Canada, whatever they're called now, that's who I got involved with. And they had to pivot from in-person to online, which was actually superior because they were able to work with a lot more people from farther away. And so now, fast forward, I have friends in the United States and maybe, one or two in other countries that I never would have met had it not been for this. And then we all got together actually last September when we went to Banff.
Oh, nice.
Got to do some things together. So a couple of people got to come to Canada that wouldn't have otherwise come here, but they ended up coming to Banff and whatnot. But that going in and at least socializing that way was still better than just, sitting at home or, like you said, being afraid stepping out the front door.
Started during COVID when like this teaching group, we like every Friday was like we always go to like the lounge and have a beer, just like decompress from the week and whatever. So then we started it online. And so we just meet online. Like, there was no shop talk. It was just have a beer, catch up, so that we kept that like social interaction as much as we could. Because like that's one thing huge, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good things that came from that time. Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
Like
it's bittersweet.
Online learning and like this, like students loved it because we would like some teachers would make videos of the lesson. Now, okay, you missed something, you go back and like. Whereas if it's live, like in person, you miss something that night. You're like, what did he say? You're like, I don't know.
Right.
So
unless I was recording it on my Ray-Bans. I bet that puts teachers in a different position too. If students are recording,
they can't be slacking.
There's like with technology these days, there's so much like concern and stuff. Like that's why they put so many like great things in place, like lockdown browsers and like I know some of like the professional engineers, they could do their testing online, but they have to do it in a conference room like this or a room like this. They have to have the camera on the whole time. To start, they have to like hold up ID that matches their face. They have to hold up the computer or the camera, spin it around the room, and then it's recording the whole time so that the like governing body can go back into it and watch it.
No.
Because
who wants that job?
Just because like you're on camera doesn't mean you don't have another screen right beside you with all the answers, and you're just like it's easy. Just you're looking around.
They look at your eye movements, right?
Long gone are the days of looking at your shoe or the little notes on your hand.
Yeah.
being creative.
Like they're even super creative. Like when we were in the classroom, they would write it on like their ball cap underneath so that they could do it. And so like ball caps had to go backwards and stuff. Like my fellow instructor and we joked around. We're like, you know what? If they're that good at doing it, well then they deserve the marks because they're brilliant in some way.
They're hacking the system.
Like if they can do it, give it to them.
Give them A.
My friend actually would for his exams, what he would do is he would have his he would get proctored, right? So they would have to have his camera on, but he would have his laptop, and then on like the bottom corner he would have his phone. And then he would, you know, that's how he would get by the or get past like the proctoring. And you know, there's, you know, people always find ways no matter what, you know what I mean? Like you no matter what, like the you know, the medium of writing the test is, they're gonna try to figure out a way to cheat and stuff. It's funny, my friends had this thing called in university for in-person exams, but they called it the Pelican formation. And I don't know what this involved, but like it was like how it's like the formation of like the students like orientation wise in the room. And then that's what they would use to cheat. And I was like, this is crazy. Like you could have just learned the material.
They could have been studying that entire time.
Yeah.
I remember like when I was in grade school, there were stories out there and like I don't know if it was Calgary or my schools, but like there was like a tap or a sneeze or a cough and it was either A, B, C, or D. So everyone would pay like the smartest kids, whatever, and they would just sit there. Like you're in the class and one kid would just tap and then one would sneeze.
That would be hilarious.
So innovative. Yeah.
Because it would be like, and then all of a sudden everybody at the same time. And
if they played it well enough that you're like, hey, the smart kids are going to get 95, 100, and then everyone else is going to get their like rough mark. No one catches on.
Yeah, if you just get maybe like a couple of answers wrong, just to make it like less suspicious.
It's when all of a sudden everyone gets 100%, or like the one kid goes from like a 60 to 100, and you're like, no.
Yeah. There's one school in Asia, I think they made everyone wear like a anime anime helmet or something, like so their own, so they wouldn't be able to look around. It would just cover their entire like side.
I heard this.
Yeah, and they can only see through here, and like they go crazy with like the helmets too, and they're just like everyone's writing without not able to look around, and they'll be very obvious if they look around.
Some computer labs, like, they'll put the dividers up in between, and like all the computers have software that the instructor can sit at the front and just scroll through them. Yeah, it's the lengths you have to go to compound this stuff.
Yeah. Spy energy with with the tap and everything, the Morse code.
That seems to be our theme today, is spy energy.
Yeah. Well, luckily we're recording everything right now. No one's gonna get canceled today.
But like that being said, I think that's why I don't know, like lately I've kind of shifted over to shooting with film a bit more. And I think from the get-go I've always kind of liked like that more analog charm. That's why I shoot like the camera I shoot, like and things like that. I don't know, like it's like obviously it's nice to have access to all this technology and like, you know, and how developed it is and things like that. It makes things very like convenient and comfortable. But I think honestly, like there's something nice about like the simplicity of like something more analog, like film, for instance, and things like that. And I noticed that things like that also help me maybe just like become like a better photographer in that sense as well. Because, you know, if I miss focus on a shot with my digital camera or whatever, I can rapid fire right away, things like that. And if I get my exposure wrong, whatever, no big deal. Like I can do it again or whatever. But like with the film cameras and things like that, like manual focus and like you have like a limited amount of frames that you can shoot. It's just a lot more, I don't know, like intent when you go out there. And I think that's like really nice, you know, because you know, a lot of like the digital stuff, like it's nice because it's convenient, but at the same time I feel like that's kind of like a downfall because it's so easy that it makes things a lot easier. So, you know, you maybe learn less or rely on those things too much.
Yeah. On the bell curve, it's like, the argument can go to extremes in both directions. And I would agree with you on that. I don't have film cameras anymore, but that's what I used to shoot before my CyberShot became a digital one. But the film means that you have more time, more intention, and it's going to be a costly error if you end up spending money on
Especially now.
photos that are not coming out the way you want them to. But I love even the advancement though from DSLR, which I have at home, and I love that camera, and into the mirrorless. And I still go back to my DSLR because I'm like, I find I have to spend more time with it, like you described with film, because it's so easy. I don't get the feedback immediate with the DSLR quite the same as I do with the mirrorless. Mirrorless, I can pretty much see like how spot on was I. DSLR, it's like, oh, you missed it, and now the moment's gone. And so I feel like that's kind of sucky. But the other side for me still is that it's put me in a position where I can be a little bit more creative with it as well. And the genre of ICM, for example, I didn't even know that was a thing, but intentional camera movement was actually really fun for me. And so I've had, lots of images that I personally like, so I didn't, put them all on Instagram or whatever. But I really liked that, okay, this puts me now where can I be creative with this in another way? And I'm sure there's other things on the camera that I have never used, like the double exposure.
Oh yeah.
I've never done that before, and I've seen people, and doing this with my hands because I've seen people do pictures upside down in the same frame, and I'm going, I don't know what that does or why they did it, but maybe there's a purpose behind it. So
Yeah, more features to play with.
yeah, absolutely. But then, like I said, the extremes on the bell curve are when people become, oh, film is the only way to go, and they look down their nose at it, and then digital is like,
Yeah, I feel like I find like as with most things, like a balance is always really nice. Like because you shoot Sony, right? Canon, okay, but like it's a pretty advanced like system, right? And I don't know, but like sure, like the analog side of things are really nice. And people honestly like the imperfections and things like that. But like, like I see your photos and I think they're all so nice, right? And like you couldn't get those types of results necessarily the same way if it were to be, something along that analog side of things. There's definitely some really nice benefits of having like a mirrorless system that's like, a lot, more modern and things like that. Like the images are really sharp, and then the things that you can capture. And also, yeah, like you were saying, like it allows you to be a lot more creative. Like I like to do things with like slower shutter speeds a lot, and just it just wouldn't be as feasible or like if I were to try to do those things on like film.
you wouldn't get the feedback.
Yeah,
to
you
find
have
out
to
if it
wait.
worked or not.
And and I'd look and I'd see that I messed up 36 shots, and I'd be like, hey, I guess. But with like my digital, it definitely makes it a lot easier for me to be creative with it. Yeah. So
I think like it makes me think of the car show we were at last weekend before, whatever. The car show. Like there's all the old cars, muscle cars, and classic cars, and they're like amazing and great that people love. And then there's the new sports cars, right? Like you get a brand new GT3 against an old Porsche, right? Like some people don't like the new ones, so they like the old ones. So you have the extremes, and then you look at them, and like I was looking at them, like I love both of them.
Yeah,
like they both have different lines, different characters. Like it's amazing,
Yeah, but it's embracing all of it, because I liked when you were talking about F1, before the show today.
I was going to say which time,
to me, because we've never had this conversation before. But when you were talking about all of the data feedback that can come back from every aspect of the car. That is not unlike every, new digital camera, that has every little, button and whatnot on it versus a film camera that just like click does one thing. And, then you have to wait to find out of whether it worked or not.
It's a really good perspective. Like, I don't shoot film at all. That's how first time I ever shot was in high school, was on film.
Mm-hmm.
Probably aging myself as well, but like it's cool and it's interesting. There's amazing, and maybe one day, and maybe film prices will go down. And digital. Like when people look at F1, they just see this car going 1,000 miles an hour, but like it's an upside down airplane, and the engineering. It's basically a battle of engineering. Like, how do you get a car going 250 kilometers an hour to 300 kilometers an hour to go around a corner and not move like it's on train tracks?
Yeah.
Like, that's it. So it's a very good perspective, because I love F1, as everyone knows. So it's the same thing. It's the science, the funness, the creativeness, and all that behind film and digital, whether it's DSLR or mirrorless.
And the turning the corner, as you said, is the creativity part, because any amount of F1 could be done as fast as possible. I love the upside down jet plane thing, but in a straight line, could be done anywhere, anytime. So it's the curves. That's the creativity. And that's what we're trying to navigate with that.
Let's be honest, there's some really photographers.
Yeah.
For sure.
I did this class, the Red Bull photographer did this class, a Canon class, and he was saying, and he's like, yeah, I like taking pictures of the car, but I also like taking these random pictures. And he's got a picture of Max Verstappen's eye, and he's got the Red Bull symbol in it. And they're like, everyone's like, they thought it was photoshopped, and it's like, I'll show you guys after. And he's like, no, that's the shots I get. So obviously he gets the classic cars in motion, the corners, the accidents. Red Bull's never in accidents, but he gets those shots of that, or there's this one of Vettel, the silhouette one, and it's so simple, but it's so much character in it.
Try doing that with film.
You have to do that with film back then, and they had to bring those giant large format ones. So unless you're crazy.
I also the sound of a film camera.
Yeah, it's very mechanical.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing though, right? Being able to appreciate both sides of things, being able to appreciate the analog things and taking things slow, but also being able to appreciate being on the cutting edge of technology and the work, the development that goes into it, and then broaden your view and broaden your perspective. Because I think it's cool because you were talking about the Red Bull photographer, sometimes people are so focused for sports photography and things like that on getting the main action, the cars and like that. But I feel what's really cool to me is that because I feel that person has maybe just a broader perspective on what they want to shoot and things like that, he's able to or they're able to get those shots of the eye and the Red Bull logo and things that people normally wouldn't be focusing on or would see in that scenario. And I think that's what's really cool too about photography. There's so many different genres or styles that you can shoot in, and it's and so many different things that you can see in a different scene or whatever.
That's why I really enjoyed that one walk. I can't remember what it was, the big group one we did that we met by the Chessman. Is I didn't even so much focus on the images or the scenery, because I'm always down anyway, but I captured people from behind, just having fun in the moment kind of thing. And that's the other nice part of having friends with photography, is they'll capture pictures of you and you're oh, that's an awesome picture of me. Yeah. And it's you in your element.
Yeah. It's oh, you took a sneak photo of me. I didn't know that.
Joseph got that one of me walk from behind holding my camera in my Alberta shirt. I love that picture.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Because it's I feel a lot of times when you're the photographer, you're not really ending up getting photographed a lot. But when you're with people like-minded or people who pursue like that similar hobby as you, like you can end up getting candid shots of yourself as well, and it's like a nice thing,
Yeah, it's like going up to strangers and you're making their day, or their day and never seen a good like them in that way, it's like your friends see you in a different way as well, and it's like, oh, it's actually a good photo of me. Like I never liked photos of myself before, but like everyone has a different perspective, and they kind of shine through.
One of the events that I went to, I was doing it as part of the photography class. And so I had a theme and everything that was going on there. But while I was taking pictures, there were children around as well. And I really liked how some of the pictures were turning out. So I would talk to the parents. Number one, to make sure it was okay that I'm photographing them, the kid, and explaining the theme of what I was doing. But then we would exchange cell phone numbers, and I would text them the pictures afterwards. And I found that that was really nice because they appreciated getting the photo. And a couple of them I actually saw pop up on Facebook later on, you know, that, oh, this is my grandson, and it was really nice to see my photo had shown up on somebody else's feed. So,
oh, that's sweet.
which was, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely like, I don't know. It feels good when you know, people appreciate, you know, like your work, or like or like the way you see things and things like that. And you know, and like at the end of the day too, right? Like it's nice because, you know, at the end, like, you know, photography, like you can capture a lot of memories that way. And you know, when someone knows how to use a camera, they can capture a moment in time or a memory in like a really nice way, you know, and kind of, I don't know, it's just something really nice about that. Yeah.
I have a picture of me and my husband together, and sometimes it comes up in my memory feed, and it came up the other day, and I was thinking about, you know, how I felt in that moment when that picture was taken of us. And now when I look at it, I go, oh my gosh, like how young we looked and how skinny we were at that time. And yet at that time, I didn't feel that way at all. I, you know, wasn't feeling particularly young or, you know, skinny or anything like that. But it was also the memory of where it was, because so many things have changed since then. So I appreciate the memory thing that you said, because that it's a huge deal. And then, you know, there's some folks out there that have said, well, you know, I'm really glad I took this picture of so-and-so because, you know, the next day they were no longer with us. And that my mom had actually a camera in the house, and she had set it up because she wanted to take a picture. My grandfather was coming over. And so my mom had exited the room, and my dad had picked up the camera and jokingly took a picture of my grandpa, but it actually clicked and went off. And it was a really fantastic picture. And yeah, within 3 days, he was no longer with us. So it was a very cherished, you know, memory. It was a very cherished moment. And it was taken completely by accident too. So, you know.
I think that takes us to like the whole, like taking your camera everywhere.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? And not being scared to use it. Like film's different because yes, you could bring some 36 shots and be like, I'm never going to see one, but like digital, right? Like that's one perk of it, is you could take a picture of something or a situation or an event or something that happened, and you may sit on the card for like 6 weeks, and then you're like, oh, right, kind of thing. And then you're so grateful you took it.
Yeah. I've been thinking of like maybe I should have a pocketable kind of like digital digicam. You know, just like whip it out once in a while, or like when you're like parties with friends, just like have some like candid shots. It's like good memories to look back on, and it's just like people also like to have photos for their own like keeping too. And
speaking of candid shots, like, and we were talking about the guy that does, or the people that do like the printed pictures. Yeah. There's also the people out there, like they run into strangers and they give them disposable camera with an address, and they go,
I saw that
can you send this back to me, or can you go to a bachelor's wedding or whatever, like, can you take pictures, send it back, and I'll make a video of it. Like, just imagine, like, you're like, sure, whatever, buddy, you take it, and then you get this like work of art back. Like, it'd be memories forever.
Yeah. That's such an interesting concept. It's like, good for him.
Yeah, actually, I really like that you brought that up, because it made me remember there were like these people who would do that at the airport. Like they'd be going to like a different country, and then they'd be like, hey, would you want to take this camera and send it back to this address like after your trip? And it's like it's just super cool, like the shots that they get and things like that. And yeah,
I think it's very like there's like not two sides, but like there's two great opportunities there. It's like this person is going on a trip is going to get this video or images of like of or whatever to help promote this guy on YouTube or whatever. But then it also now encourages these people going on trips to slow down and experience and enjoy their trip that little more, because they're going to take we're going to take pictures and this might be on the internet. Like, let's at least show them something half decent. Mm-hmm. So it opens the doors for both parties.
And honestly, it makes the trip, I feel like, even like that much more memorable too. Cause like, you know, cause who knows, maybe like if they weren't handed that camera, maybe they wouldn't have taken like those photos in like the same way or whatever it is. Right. And, it's always like this nice little like disposable film camera too. So there's, I don't know, something about, I feel like especially like in these times, like anytime you look at those types of photos, it always invokes like a feeling of nostalgia. So it's just, you know, like a nice vibe in that sense as well. I feel like, you know, like going back to like that memory thing.
If I were to hand a disposable camera like that to someone, I would give them something else with it to photograph, not just the scene, but, you know, maybe like a little doll or a little, you know, stuffed animal or something like that to kind of go with it.
Like the Lego photographer.
Oh,
there's a Lego man photographer that's got pictures of these Lego mans all over the world.
Oh, cool. We took a little figure from my husband's work, and it was some kind of safety thing for them, but it was a little man figure. And so when we went to New York, you know, we would hold it up, and when we took a picture of that building, the little man figure was in the picture as well. So, and I think my dad took a little stuffed goat that belonged to his sister. And so everywhere that he went when he was getting his picture taken, he made sure this, you know, stuffed animal was in the picture as well.
Yeah. So it makes it extra fun. And also like going back to how a disposable camera is like very not invasive and not like intimidating. It changes also like people's image and thoughts of like photography in general. They don't see like a creepy photographer. It's just like, oh, I'm making fun memories, and maybe it's actually okay to take photos, you know, being a little more open, I guess, to it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why like nowadays, like point and shoots, a lot of those styles of cameras, like fixed lens point and shoots, are like pretty popular. Cause like, yeah, like there's that, I guess like that, I don't know, idea that when you're having like a mirrorless camera, like a big mirrorless camera, and it's pointed at you, it's like there's like that intimidation factor, right? But the moment someone pulls out something that looks like a, you know, like something a tourist would use or whatever, then they're just like, oh, okay, it's they're not as scared of that. And you know, it's nice too because it works really well. People really like things like that for like street photography and things like that. So I don't know, like
if it looks like a toy, then
It's the elbows, because if I'm a tourist and I'm using a little camera like that, my elbows are out, so it probably isn't as threatening as this, where my elbows are down and now I've got like real focus. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe the body language.
Body language.
Social experiment. So take the normal like mirrorless and hold it. Like try to hold it. Just change your body. See if it changes the mood.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that.
I think photographers be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Newbie, not
smoking.
It's not even looking into the. That'd be funny.
I feel like I would not be threatened by, you know, the Aunt Mabel that's holding with the elbows out versus somebody that's holding like this.
Looks like we need to wrap it up. It's already 1:49. Wow, that was quick. So I'd like to thank you guys again for joining me on this podcast. So I hope you enjoyed discussing your thoughts and your perspectives.
That was fun.
It's fun. Hopefully you don't get canceled because of it.
We'll see who gets canceled. Should be fine. But any other things you would like to add before we go?
I think the biggest thing is just pick up your camera and go shoot. And don't be afraid to make mistakes, because there's no such thing as a mistake. It's a learning opportunity as long as you grow from it.
Don't worry about your gear, because some of the most amazing pictures can come from the most mundane cameras. Could be your phone, could be some, used camera. Doesn't have to be the latest, greatest.
I think just trying to keep an open mind and not let yourself be too closed in on how you see things is very important, because I think that there's a lot out there and it's wonderful to experience.
Very wise words from very wise people. Thank you so much again. Why are you laughing, Chris?
Chris Wise.
Big wise ass is.
There's still wise in it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'd like to thank again Chris, Ramona, and Kenny for such a great time. It flew by like nothing. It was great speaking with you, and thank you for participating again. Please do check out their Instagram. They make great work and are very lovely people. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like, comment, share with your friends, family, neighbors, strangers, people on the streets, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay colorful. Bye.